Back in 1998 was probably, I think, the first year I put up Christmas lights. Back finishing high school, so started off with not much. Back in the old day of the old 36 volt lights and a couple of indoor lights and a green spotlight up a tree. So pre-digital photography, photo there doesn't do much justice. Now you can hear me. So the following year, natural thing happened is we got more lights. Again, photos and cameras weren't too good back then. And then we got more lights again. 2001 is when I probably started to get a bit more serious with clearing out shops of lights. So I had a whole heap and everything. I had these exploding star sort of things on the roof, which was all well and good, except they wouldn't all do the same pattern at the same time. And the OCD sort of kicked in there. Same with the strings around the roof line and the gutter. I think there was about 4 packs to build all that up, and they all wanted to do their own little thing. So I sort of thought, how can I get them all to be the same? So then I had some cabling inside to run it all. So next year we had sort of the same display, but it was computerized. So we had about 48 channels. Had planned on building 64, but I ran out of time. So this was, back in the day, it was all on breadboard, AC. Was that? Yeah, I had a website. Yeah, ran for years. So yeah, it was the Hill 320 design plugged in a parallel port. 1-bit dimming, so it was either on or off and nothing in between. Didn't like DC voltage, so it was all triac, 0 voltage switching. So that was, had to build the whole thing from scratch at component level. Doing it on breadboard was a real pain in the neck compared to these days. You go pay $100 or $200, $300 and you've got a controller all built. It's a bargain. So yeah, that was the production line on the barbecue table, putting them together, and a bit of a rat's nest with the ICs to run it all. It was basically just a bit expander, so it went out from there. Then, yeah, in the garage we sort of had an old Pentium 1 computer with a heap of power adapters and the monstrosity of cables, which was problem number 1, was the box is never big enough to fit everything in. So I did have the switching triacs in the base of the unit, and then I thought, oh yeah, I'll mount all this on the front and have all the connectors. And it didn't work like that. So that went back to the drawing board the following year. Software-wise, Vixen I don't think existed. There was a program called Dasher. Yeah. So Dasher looked pretty simple. Yeah. Yeah, I ended up writing my own. So yeah, I had a Visual Basic sequencer, which is sort of like our grid sort of thing we're familiar with today, except the axes are backwards. So basically I had a 4-channel pattern, and then I'd plonk it in. So it's basically, and back in the day, all the lights were 4-channel. So you had your reds, your greens, your blues, and your yellows. Yeah, so if you wanted red, you could cut the controller off and just connect the red circuit. So now then they put the red and the blues, and then they reverse the voltage, and tight asses. They don't build them like they used to. So yeah, play out. The scheduler was actually a DOS program written in QBasic. As it turns out, the timing in it's not very good if you want to do precision timing consistently. So yeah. 2003, we basically got all 64 channels going, probably added more lights, and the controller layout was changed so it's a wall mount design using spring-loaded speaker terminals to do all the connections, and Windows software to run the playout for more precision timing. So yeah, following year, a lot of the original lights from the 2001 had to be replaced because you sort of got a 3-year cycle. I found in Queensland, I don't know what it's like down south, but usually by then they're 3 seasons and they're stuffed. So our sort of controller setup. If you don't want anyone to touch anything, write high voltage on it. So that works wonders, and there's no high voltage there. It was all 36 volt. 2005, I couldn't be bothered doing it. I think I was busy with work. So 2006, yeah, we sort of kept going. Similar sort of controller setup. That's a nice little trick to, well, I thought it was anyway, putting the uplight on the back of the star and then shining the top of the tree so you don't wash out the rest of your lights. So it's just mounted around the back there. And yeah, I'd changed the controller power supply thing to those angle bracket sort of design. Because yeah, that border controllers I had got real heavy after a while. 2007, I don't know what happened that year either. It mustn't have been very big. 2008, I moved into the current house I'm in now, so we went back to 24 channels because I had other things to do, and I had to baptise the neighbours slowly into what was going to happen. So 2009, I finally changed. All the previous years I was running my own software. Vixen came along. I looked at it again in 2009 and got music going at last. So it was something sort of held out for a long time. So 2010, we sort of adding more of it. Still running my original controller from 2002. So it certainly got a short run for its money. And then yeah, 2011 was the first year Pixels come along, so it was using the old 6803 5-bit dimming at $13 a metre. So I had like 20 metres of it. So it's certainly dropped in price and it's under $4 now. Then yeah, inside the controller setup, Old Faithful controller on the back wall there. It's still doing its job. Now I was also using Lightshow Pro to do the Pixels. So my old controller obviously doesn't talk to Lightshow Pro, so I had a computer which took the E131 packets out of LSP and transcoded it into my old system. So we start to get interesting now, all the more modern sort of things with RGB, more pixels to 2811, and the garden lights had separate RGB strings from somewhere in China. I think the group buy back then. So they're individual strings twisted together. First year I even bothered entering a competition. And then yeah, inside is more of a permanent setup. I like the slat wall shop fitting. So if you put that on your wall, then you can build your controllers and modular it on. If you want to change it around in following years, it's easier to do. So yeah, still running LSP. 2013, I added a matrix on the roof and added a Wi-Fi hotspot with a server setup and custom software, which then allowed people to connect their mobile phone to my Xmas Lights network. They'd get redirected to type in their name and it would come up on the roof in real time. It's what I talked about last year. People here last year. Yeah, I might. You have to decipher how it works and how it troubleshoots. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's what I'm worried about. So yeah, 2013, sort of moved on to more structured cabling and hardwiring patch points into the ceiling. Keeping in mind that I've got a background as a registered cabler. So, what's that? Yeah, I know all about that. 2014, so last year, we added the Pi player and more pixels again. And then, oh yeah, some more photos. So yeah, then this year, hopefully we'll have a play with some of these LED panels. So yeah, that's how it's progressed over the years. So then I thought I might run through some random tips. Might be reinventing the wheel. So yeah, controller design. I'd put make sure it's a waterproof box. because they will leak. So keep the boards off the bottom of the case. You'll probably want protection from your cabling so you can't yank it out of the controller. So have strain relief on it, because when you're trying to stuff around with it when it doesn't work, you don't want to be accidentally yanking the thing out of the screw terminal. Yes. Yeah, as long as it's tied in. So I've got the board there and have cable tied it in along each one, and then a bit of perspex over the top so you're not resting stuff on the components itself, because yeah, it becomes a nuisance. And I'd standardise all your cabling and your colour code your connectors. So if you've got different voltages, have them different colours, because it's very easy to, in the dark, under the tree, accidentally plug the 12 volt feed into the 5 volt and kaboom, when you're half asleep at 2 a.m. in the morning getting something working. I'd keep in mind to have like a modular sort of design. So if you're going to build 5 of the same, have all 5 the same length cables. So then if the one on the end or the one in the middle dies, you can use the one on the end and swap it around. If the cables are all the same size, you're not mucking around having to adjust it. And then your voltage drop and brightness are going to be the same anyway. This means talk faster, because it's going to say battery low. So yeah, other considerations, I'm always believe in fencing off the yard to keep your public liability down. Same if anyone walks in and has a poke around with it, keep the cabling and controllers out of the way. It'll be some dumb kid coming in having a fiddle with it if they see it. So you probably want to consider traffic management and witches' hats. And yeah, guard duty out the front, as I'm sure a lot of people are aware. If it's left unattended, it's probably going to rile the neighbours up if they see a riot taking place. So, and I also found turning the FM transmitter off kept cars moving too, because I'm in a street which is 2 cars wide and a dead end. So, yeah, I can't get a bus down the street very easily, although it has been done if you do a 10-point turn. That's my sign box I made. So it's a light box sitting on a normal crate, so you can use it to stick all the witches' hats in. Saves having to walk back to the house when you pack up each night. Although, yeah, you got to keep it simple, because people still don't notice or read the signs when there's big, huge lights going everywhere. So A3 colour minimum, even then that's still a bit small. But it can be done with a standard sort of photocopier printer. Oh, they don't care. Police come down my street. It's not an official road sign. So they're not writing tickets for it. But most people were pretty good. So I'm in a narrow street. I'm not on a main road. So yeah. So most people got the idea. Although there's always the one person that doesn't understand that witches' hats mean don't park in front of it. I'm sure people are aware. So yeah, conduit frames, 25mm conduit, build it up to stop them flexing. And if you've got a tin roof, really easy, lift the screws, put some rubber under it, bracket, and then yeah, attach it from there. I'm down to 7% battery now, so we'll keep going. Pixel garden strip, using, I just used lead strip through 19mm pressure hose in the plumbing section at Bunnings. Makes really good rope light. Yeah, it is. Anti-theft. So yeah, it did sort of want to bend a bit, so. But yeah, anything down low was bolted down. Or plastic coated steel wires handy too. So yeah, Pixel bells, they got dyno bolted onto the front of the house with a few saddles around it. So yeah, Pixel tree, that's on a frame again to hide the ugly drain pipe behind it. So with just black shade cloth behind it. Again, it's all modular, makes it easier to pick up and put away. I did a few wiring looms too, so it saves having to run 1,000 cables inside. I could have a distribution point and then put it in it sort of modular, so I had cables which run around. Back to two 25mm holes, which went up into the roof, and my controls are on the inside of the garage. So when I take it down, just get two hole plugs, put it up, and it's all gone. Letterboxes, again, it's all on. All the lights are on frames, pre-cut the size, and that gets screwed in, so we're not mucking around trying to align lights every time. That's a mini tree. We've seen some of those. Oh. And that's the end.